Hey guys, we're gonna do a tier list today. So I looked at the last 30 relevant tournaments that are concluded to analyze the data and see which decks are currently the most successful and therefore the best decks in the game. So let's go and rank them. But before we start, let's make this a little bit more fun, because the data that I analyzed is actually a little bit surprising, at least to me, maybe to you. We will find out. So please go to my comment section down below and tell me which two decks, spoiler alert, we're gonna have two decks in the S tier that really stand out by how successful and how dominant they are. So please right now go to my comment section down below and tell me which two decks do you think are currently the most successful decks in the game and will land in our S tier by the end of this video. I'm really curious to find out which decks you would name, because I would have named two different decks. And one more thing before we actually start, in case you are not sure what are currently the best decks in the game, then I made a video about it, so just check out my last video. You will see every single best deck in the game and the accurate deck list for it. But now let's start off by ranking Garados EX, which I thought would be an absolute top tier in the game, either S or A tier. But actually, if you look at how much it wins and how consistent it is actually not too impressive, so it will land in our B tier. The reason why I thought this is going to be a top tier deck is very simple, as it counters or has a good matchup into very strong decks. Like Arcanine counters the Pikachu, obviously, it counters the Celebi as it one-shots Celebi because of Celebi's weakness. With the Mew EX included in this deck, it has a good matchup into Mewtwo even, and the Moltres provides it with consistency, and everything basically speaks and points to this being a really strong deck. But I won't argue against success, and success tells me this is not a top tier deck, so it simply is not, and that's why it's in our B tier. And next up, let's talk a little bit about Scolipede. So Scolipede is actually the only, if we talk about the best decks in the game, Scolipede is the only deck in here that does not include any EX Pokemon. So this is one of the, if not the best budget deck in the game. But yeah, we are looking at the best decks in the game, and among the best decks in the game, Scolipede is sadly the worst. It does not keep up with anything else on this list, and so that's why we will put it in our F tier. Although we see it in tournaments, it gets decent placements, and it's always there. So yeah, keep in mind, even though if I put something into the F tier, remember that even if you're the worst among the best, you are still among the best and a force to be reckoned with. Alright, so let's move on to what was by far the biggest surprise, at least to me, in this list, and that is Mewtwo EX. If you would have told me, hey, Strawhead, put one deck into the S tier, like your first choice for the S tier, what would that be? It would have definitely be the Mewtwo EX for me. But current data and success just tells me this deck is still very strong, and it is one of the best decks in the game. But there are two other decks that Mewtwo currently falls a little bit short to. Not much, but it does fall a little short compared to two other decks, and that's why I cannot give it the S tier, which is shocking to me. But yeah, it is still A, and it's still up there. It just falls a little short to two other decks. And yeah, alright, I think it's time to reveal one of our S tiers, and that is still Pikachu EX. That is kind of a surprise to me, because when we look at what decks got buffed and how much they got buffed, like Mewtwo was already better than Pikachu, but Mewtwo got buffs like Mythical, Slap, and the Mew EX, and Blue is better for Mewtwo than for Pikachu. Like, Mewtwo should in theory be a better deck than Pikachu, but it is just not. Pikachu is like the only deck in the game that has multiple deck lists it keeps top cutting tournaments, it keeps winning tournaments left, right and center, and it has multiple deck lists that do so with this Striker line, or there's a Raichu deck that it just keeps winning and so consistently top cuts, and it just, the success this deck has, those deck lists have, is incredible. So yeah, this is one definite S tier, there's no question about it. And it's very, very surprising. Like even the Raichu, it does not consistently one-shot the Mewtwo. It does not one-shot even the Garados that has weakness. So it didn't get incredible buffs. Like what did this deck get, right? It got a Dedenne, it got an Electabuzz, and maybe a blue, and that's pretty much about it. But still, this deck keeps winning. And so after Pikachu, let's talk about the Scolipede EX, which, yeah, this placement comes at a surprise considering how good we thought this deck would be after Mythical Island expansion dropped. But yeah, we can calm down. This thing is not as giga broken as we thought. It is still broken, don't get me wrong about that. It has infinite potential, it can do an infinite amount of damage, it can coin flip like 100 coins, right? So the damage potential here is infinite, and that is broken, right? But yeah, the success just, it is on par, like really pretty much, it's a tiny little bit more consistent in terms of success as Arcanine. But yeah, all things considered, they are both on the same level, right? Arcanine is a little bit more consistent, but Scolipede has a few more tournament wins than Arcanine. So yeah, if we combine all of the data together and make a result out of that, those two are very, very, very equal. Like they're not one tier apart, that's for sure, and that's why Scolipede EX belongs right where Arcanine is, and that is in our B tier. And moving on to Garados EX. Now yeah, this thing, it's just not that great, not as good as we thought, because yeah, the energy attachment is just too high and it falls short. I'm just kidding you guys, this is another S tier big. This is the only deck in the game that actually contests Pikachu when it comes to success. Yeah, you played with the Greninja, so you, in case you wouldn't already one-shot something with Garados EX, you now can use the Greninja to deal like 20 damage, 40 damage to something that you wouldn't normally one-shot, so that you can now one-shot this. And yeah, this deck is way more consistent than I thought. And yeah, I can't really explain why this is as good as it is, but yeah, this is definitely, no question, one of, if not the best deck in the game currently. It one-shots everything, and everything that it wouldn't one-shot to begin with, it has the Greninja to help out. And even the Dradagon is such a good wall to buy you a little bit of time to get that energy attachment done. If Misty works, yeah, you just free win as usual, and yeah, this deck is through the roof, so good. And yeah, this deck is for some reason like so consistent and so successful. Only Pikachu EX contests this deck currently, and yeah, it is, except for Pikachu EX, it is just a cut above the rest. And now moving on to our last entry on this list, which is Golem. And this one is a little bit of an outlier because, look, I don't want to put out any wrong information out there, and I don't want to tell you anything where I'm not 100% sure and confident that is actually the truth and completely accurate to the very core, you know. So yeah, for Golem I cannot rank this deck confidently yet, because it is not very consistent. It has pretty much nothing going for it, right? It's there, it makes top 16s and top 8s here and there, but yeah, it is not consistent. The thing is, why I cannot rank this confidently is because the thing that this is going for it is massive, and that is it won the biggest tournament out there, you know, the biggest tournament that Pokemon TCG Pocket has outside of Japan was won by this Golem deck. So it deserves a high ranking because of that, right? But it is just not consistent. It did only win this one thing, and it doesn't even make like top 3, top 5 consistently, you know, like pretty much never actually. It just makes like top 8s and top 16 cuts. But yeah, I mean, it won the biggest thing there is, and that's pretty huge, you know. So do I give it a high ranking because it won the biggest thing there is, and ignore the consistency, or like how much do I value this inconsistency? I'm not sure yet. I gotta wait a little bit and see more to really accurately rank this with 100% confidence. But I can tell you one thing, and that is yeah, it won't be S tier. It's just not consistent enough. That wouldn't be fair to Garados and Pikachu. They are just, yeah, their success is just way higher. Even though they didn't win the biggest thing, but still they keep winning everything. Just not the biggest thing. Golem got, you could say Golem got lucky once if you want. That would be fair, right? No, yeah, you tell me. Like, I wouldn't put it into the S tier. What I would tell you is it is either in A or in B tier. Like, you tell me, how much do you value this one big win, or how much you value the consistency that the other decks show, how much would you value the inconsistency that Golem has, how much do you value this one huge gigantic win that it has. Would you say it just got lucky and it's not a big deal, blah blah blah? I don't know yet. As I said, I cannot confidently tell you where this really belongs, so I will leave it in A or B for now. I'm sorry, but yeah, help me out in the comment section below. Tell me, what do you think? What would you highly value, how much? But yeah, that's it. That's where Golem belongs, is in A or B, you tell me. And that's it for the video. If you like TCG Pocket content in general, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a follow. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and bye bye.